That is true, and he has indicated to me that that is not true. You may now proceed, CS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking my colleagues, the senators, for really raising very weighty issues that I have, as I already said, some we have been able to note, some we will get it from the Hansard, and those which are concerning policy issues, Mr. Speaker, will do the proper follow-up. I also would like to say on the floor of this House that considering the number of cases that IPOA is being requested to investigate, Mr. Speaker, from a policy perspective, it's important as a country that we give IPOA more support in terms of resources and ability to hire more investigators so that these cases are heard and resolved expeditiously, because people are asking this question, Mr. Speaker, how come the one for Honorable Were was handled within a week or so and a shorter time, and how come this one is not moving at the same speed? Mr. Speaker, it must be understood that this is IPOA investigating police. On the other incident, it was the police themselves investigating a crime, and therefore the capacity, whereas there are not enough resources on the DCI side, we believe that DCI has a greater capacity than the IPOA itself. Therefore, IPOA requires some level of support so that this can move expeditiously. The question Kenyans are asking is that, are we treating this case different from those that are affecting persons who are prominent, like a member of parliament and so? And I was saying, Mr. Speaker, it must be seen from the context that for the questions of investigation in Barakoi, for example, Angata Barakoi, Mr. Speaker, for example, and the case of this one for Albert, all of them are by IPOA, which has a smaller establishment than the DCI, and therefore the process gets slower. If it was the efficiency and the capacity that the DCI has, it would have moved a little bit faster. Mr. Speaker, very few questions have been raised, but in depth, Senator Muma has asked policy review. I already gave my undertaking already in the House earlier that when I came to office, I have instructed the team in my office to look not just at the law, but also the judicial decisions, including Justice Ogola's decision, Mr. Speaker, to see how we can mainstream them and improve the service standing orders or work on different regulations or establish a new legislation that can be able to fill the gaps. This is not an exercise that is confined only to the ministry, but also we can work together with the relevant committee of this House. Mr. Speaker, on the Commission of Inquiry and Inquest, I think those are very genuine legal, constitutional parameters that can be used, or instruments actually, that can be used to get to the truth. Where there is doubt that the truth can be found, these mechanisms can be utilized. However, Mr. Speaker, in the situation that we are, I think it's too early, considering that it was only 2 days ago, to pass judgment that IPOA is unable to do these investigations. But should the investigations not bear any fruit, Mr. Speaker, those are instruments that can be considered by this House as ways of investigation. Mr. Speaker, on the curriculum, we have the curriculum. We have the curriculum, and as Senator Muma, having myself trained before on rights-based approach to development, I know what you mean by saying, talking about human rights approach to service delivery. The instruments are there, but the ability to disseminate it, to catch up with the older population that are already been trained, and also the ability for the National Police Service to have continuous training is constrained by resources and facilities. In fact, we might have this discussion another time. You know that all over the country, wherever you go, and for those who have been with me in the Jukwaa la Usalama, you realize that the National Police Service has many issues that needs to be dealt with. A police station, even for a police station to have a CCTV, is just by luck, because some of them don't have OB, some of them don't have furniture, they don't even have a computer. We have shortage of vehicles. We have all many other challenges that this administration realized. That is why there was a police reform committee that was put in place to see how best are we going to enhance. And that's why we're doing procurement now for vehicles. We're trying to do digitalization and digitization, so that if you had the DCI properly, it told you that part of the occurrence book is reported digitally. And that's evidence that cannot easily be erased, not like a book or a paper within the police station. So there's a lot of work that we want to do on digitization and digitalization of the police service. But the challenge we still have is to work on the resource constraint that we have. So police officers are asking for basics: a police station with a cell, a police station with a vehicle. At the moment, OCS is sharing a vehicle with OCPD and so forth. And all this we are working on as a ministry, and this is an area that I put a greater emphasis to see that the police officers are resourced to do their work. Again, on the issue of Senator Beatrice Ogola, I am very clear, Senator Beatrice, I am very clear in my mind. I saw the father of the late Albert Ojwang, and like any other parent, I felt the pain of that parent. And they only give possible gift we can give them in the time that they have lost their loved one. And it's even more painful when it's the only child. Mr. Speaker, is to promise them that we will do everything we can and to ensure that justice is done, and to ensure that those who perpetrated this heinous act are put behind bars, Mr. Speaker, so that they can suffer the pain of having inflicted this grievous bodily harm, which eventually resulted in death of Albert Ojwang. Mr. Speaker, that is the little we can give. Of course, Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, we are obligated as leaders and also citizens, and also within this leadership of this ministry, to support their family, like Senator Veronica Mine had asked earlier, so that we, in a small way, we can be able to facilitate and help them to find ways of comforting themselves. But I tell you, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing actually that can compensate the loss of a child. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I stand with them, and I will do everything as a cabinet secretary to ensure that those who committed this act are brought to justice. Mr. Speaker, she has also asked what's the motive. I think the motive is a subject of investigation. Let's allow the investigations to go on. It will eventually reveal to us who exactly did it and why, Mr. Speaker. There are many indications, almost like the whole indications show that this is a crime that happened within the police station. Mr. Speaker, if it is confirmed that it happened within the police station, Mr. Speaker, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that those who will be found should be held accountable. But, Mr. Speaker, we must also find resources to expeditiously make our police station safe haven for those who are going to there to get justice, and particularly to be brought before justice. Mr. Speaker, on Senator Manzo, is raised a very valid question. There are a host of regulations that whose period was terminated was past 10 years, and we had an omnibus extension that happened. But now there has to be, as I told you, there is a review process for the service standing orders. When eventually the review is done, it will be brought to this House and the National Assembly for purpose of approval. And I agree with you. It is not true that a policy must come here for it to be effective. That's not true. But for a policy to be a sessional paper, it must come to this House and therefore approved by Parliament. But if we want to have a policy for the sake of a policy, it can be adopted by the Cabinet after public participation processes, and it can still work as a national policy. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to Senator Seki and all others who are talking about whether or not I know whether the DIG should be held accountable or not, that I do not hold a brief to defend or in any way to accuse him. Mr. Speaker, I believe as a lawyer that evidence must lead to the suspect. And Mr. Speaker, when that evidence leads to that suspect, Mr. Speaker, in my office and any other office of government, no one should be able to block any processes of justice. What I hope we cannot do as a nation is that we cannot sanctify, process a very heinous act that was done by criminals, somehow maybe through even a mob justice, if I put it that way. We cannot sanitize it, Mr. Speaker, by also carrying out mob justice against the other people. We must always, if we are calling for equity, Mr. Speaker, we must come with clean hands. If we are calling for justice, we must be ready to follow the legal processes, Mr. Speaker, so that we can lead us to the response. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chute asked the question of, generally just captured the issue of OCS Marwa. OCS Marwa is a person known to me personally. I was with him in Marsabit just not long ago. And Mr. Speaker, most of these police officers are suffering. Mr. Speaker, a lot of them are sacrificing for their country. I went to see some of the police officers who have suffered because of the operations in Boni Forest, protecting our country in the border. Those who are doing a lot of operations in the Kerio Valley region and issues of banditry and the eastern and upper eastern areas. Mr. Speaker, there are many, many police officers who are sacrificing their time and energy to protect this country. Mr. Speaker, this cannot be a representation of the police officers. There are very few elements in the police office who are errant, who are violating the law, Mr. Speaker, but that does not mean we do generalization that the entire 120,000 police officers are all culpable. Mr. Speaker, even in this reform process and the work we have been doing, we've been trying to edify and praise those who are doing a good job, even, Mr. Speaker, as we hand over to a justice system process to those like the ones who have committed this heinous act to be held into account. Senator Tango has asked me, who is killing Kenyans? Mr. Speaker, that is a very good question, but better answered, Mr. Speaker, from an investigation process. Again, when I come back with a statement that was capturing the protests, the deaths that happened in the protests last year, when all of us, including Senator Tangwa and the group were on one side. Mr. Speaker, I will be coming with that statement back to the floor of this House. And Mr. Speaker, when I do so, we will interrogate all the people who suffered as a result of that protest, Mr. Speaker, and again, we'll be able to know how far the investigation have gone. So let me not use this opportunity to enlist it, because already that statement is to our office, Mr. Speaker. The day I will be called again, and we were supposed to interrogate today, but the day I will be called again, we can be able to look at these issues. But Mr. Speaker, every case is investigated independently, and Mr. Speaker, every person who is held culpable is brought before justice. Mr. Speaker, Senator Kisang has said a true thing that, Mr. Speaker, perhaps Mr. Speaker, we should be also expending our energy to make sure that, Mr. Speaker, we deal with banditry. We are doing everything possible. Mr. Speaker, let me say this. The problem of banditry, particularly where Senator Kisang comes from, which is also my home county, Mr. Speaker, and the entire Kerio Valley, has been a problem since 1975. Mr. Speaker, it had been so intensified in the last 2 years that it was a big problem 2 years ago. Mr. Speaker, the statistics I have, and I really challenge anyone to call me to come with the numbers here, is that between January 2024 and June 2024, Mr. Speaker, in comparison to January 2025 and June 2025, we've reduced the incidences of cattle rustling by more than half, Mr. Speaker. That is a tremendous progress. And it's because of police officers who are sacrificing their time and energy to deal with issues of banditry in the Kerio Valley. You heard Senator Ezena speaking here that some time ago, Samburu was terrible. And Mr. Speaker, we are working hard to make sure that we deal with this issue, even as we fight the bigger issue of proliferation of small arms, the access of ammunition from the neighboring countries, porous borders, and all the challenges that we go through. Our police officers are doing everything. And being a person who sat in this chamber again and have been challenged and raised serious issues about banditry, Mr. Speaker, I have the responsibility to do everything to make sure that that region, Mr. Speaker, we get rid of bandits, and we are doing so. And therefore, Senator Kisang has referred to the case of Father Alois. Mr. Speaker, there is an ongoing, first let me say this, in Kerio Valley region, the entire belt of the Kerio Valley is now pacified, except a corner in Marakwet where Kisang is talking about between Marakwet, West Pokot, and Baringo in Tiati constituency, and a corner also in Loruk in Baringo County, and then some incidences in Samburu, and a corner also between Samburu and Meru and Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, even the incident that happened in Marsabit was isolated recently. Mr. Speaker, the fact that today the rest of the region is pacified shows the effort that has been put by this administration and our police officers to take care of that region. And that's why when you see some of the leaders who are looking for sound bites and petty comments, Mr. Speaker, they have absolutely nothing. They are lofty statements, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes, big statements, lofty, but have no statistics, have no reference to anything. They have absolutely no reference to the performance of the officers. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy that some of these critiques that criticize the Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable CS, we will have...
I have the last answer, Mr. Speaker. I still have two more.
Thank you, Honorable CS.
Two more, Mr. Speaker. I was just saying on this particular issue, the good news is that those who are targeting the Cabinet Secretary, at least they have no problem with the IG and National Police Service. So for their political good, if they want to run with my name, they can do so. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of Senator Okinyu, Esther Esi, I want to say that as a ministry, we will extend our hand of support to the family. We will reach out to the widow, Mr. Speaker, the parents, and the extended family to see how best we can work together to support them, Mr. Speaker, at this moment of grief, and to see how we can support their family. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Senator Nyamu, Mr. Speaker, again, she was raising the same issue about the protests that happened last year and the people who were affected. And I beg your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to answer that question together with the statement that was already before this House. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherege has continuously continued with his song of the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to say this, because I will be coming to this House over and over again. And every time I came to this House since I was appointed a minister, this same senator is only talking about Murkomen must resign. Mr. Speaker, when I was the Minister of Roads and Transport, Cherege used to argue that I must resign because many people are dying because of road accidents. When I left the ministry, Mr. Speaker, he has gone quiet. Suddenly, there are no road accidents. Mr. Speaker, when I went to the Ministry of Sports, it is the same Senator Cherege who kept saying I must resign. In fact, in one incident, there is a team that went for a volleyball tournament and they lost. And he said the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, since I left the sports ministry, he has never been able to talk about performance of the volleyball team or the football team. And he never said that I must resign. When I came to this ministry, Mr. Speaker, he never waited for 2 months. He said the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, all this resignation is compounded around a theme of the minister is incompetent. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherege was my student. I taught him, not one subject, not 2 subjects, more than 2 subjects. Mr. Speaker, his performance was below average. Mr. Speaker, he has no legitimacy at all, Mr. Speaker, to question my competence or performance.
Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable CS,
and I will table the results if it is required.
Honorable CS, Honorable CS, the academic performance of any senator is not something to be debated here.
I will go further, Mr. Speaker. I will not even talk about this.
Honorable CS, kindly conclude and allow the other witnesses.
Mr. Speaker, since you gave him good time,
we only have 20 minutes to be shared.
I need 2
minutes
of right of reply, Mr. Speaker, and I will be done.
Conclude.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, when I was a senator here, the biggest debate I ever had in this chamber was police brutality against the senators who are being arrested so that they don't vote in this House. Mr. Speaker, when I stood in this chamber and told the Speaker he must not sacrifice Kenya, it was because Senator Malala had been arrested, Senator Keleleko had been arrested, Senator LANGAT has been arrested, Mr. Speaker, to reduce the numbers of people who are voting to defend people from marginalized areas, including Kilifi County. Mr. Speaker, that time, Senator Cherege was opposed to any process. He told the Speaker in this chamber, and the Hansard will bear me witness, that we must progress and vote because, Mr. Speaker, he cared less. Mr. Speaker, if performance is anything to go by, anyone else can assess my performance, not Senator Cherege, Mr. Speaker, in that regard. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. that and I can say many things, which I don't need to say here, but I want to conclude by saying, Mr. Speaker, this chamber is a very serious house. If I always have to come here for one individual to always be talking about incompetence, he must resign. That is a normal song every day. He doesn't provide evidence, except what he used to do here to ask questions, Mr. Speaker, that are procured from out there. What else does Senator Jerge feel like he has done in this country? I must say that we must respect each other. We must respect people's offices. We must respect it. And when people question you the way some senators have questioned me here and asked me about my performance, I respect them because it's objective. But not every time you say this and that, Mr. Speaker, he reduces this august house, which I served gladly, Mr. Speaker, to a place of vendetta. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit and I thank you.
The IG, please. You may take the stand and respond to the questions that have been directed to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me once again start by saying that myself and the National Police Service deeply regrets the unfortunate events that resulted in the death of Mr. Albert Ojwang while in the police custody. The service extends its sincere condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased during this very difficult time. In line with our commitments to accountability and transparency, again, I would urge IPOA to move with speed so that it can be able to tell us who are these who committed this heinous crime at the Central Police Station, so that at the end of the day, they can be able to face the raw square and answer to their crimes. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying that I've already apologized for the erroneous reporting that was done at that very early stages when this kind of crime was realized. And number two, that has since been rectified because we have even seen the outcomes of the autopsy that was done yesterday. In terms of compensation, my CS has actually discussed on what the way forward in terms of getting in touch with the family and assisting where we can be able, and we support that cause completely. The status of the deceased when he was brought in to Central Police Station was normal. That information, the status of the deceased when he was brought in to the Central Police Station at that 23 hours, the status was normal. The number of hours that was spent while driving from Mutembei, that was makwiny Police Station to Central Police Station, that was roughly 5 hours, 15 minutes, because the team left makwiny Police Station at around 16:00 hours and arrived in Nairobi at around 21:17 hours, roughly 5 hours and some minutes from Mutembei to Nairobi. There is that question of why not invite the suspect to come to record statements at the nearest police station. The DCI is going to deal with that one, Honorable Speaker. This question of why the OCS had to be consulted before the suspect was placed in the cells, again, the DCI is going to answer for it very, very, very clearly, Honorable Speaker. There was also the question why the late Albert Ojwang had an opportunity to, was given an opportunity to call the spouse. When I was here previously answering the other questions, I did indicate that the police officers are well trained on how to treat suspects and other Kenyans alike. It is on that basis that he was given that opportunity to check on his family and even report that he has safely arrived in Nairobi. And I also indicated that police officers are always on the forefront in the defense of the rights and freedom of the people. That is our training. That is my training. So it is on that basis that he was actually given that opportunity.
Two minutes to go.
Now, in terms of processing persons of interest, the question is whether the numbers, the persons of interest have actually been exhausted. I think that one it will be effectively answered by IPOA, who are actually investigating on the same Honorable Speaker. There was also the question as to whether DIG LANGAT could be paraded before the House to hear his side of story. I think again, Honorable Speaker, that's a decision that again this House can consider. Whether there are different sets of laws for different sets of people or groups. Our laws are for everybody. Nobody is above the law. And the DIG, as was explained by the DCI, he did launch his complaint in writing to the DCI. And the DCI, in his wisdom, had a team to look into that complaint. And that is basically, as he explained, how that investigations commenced. There was also the question of who is the DCI officer who booked Albert in the cells. The names are also there with the IPOA, and I believe the IPOA is going to provide for that.
So, IG, you are referring quite a number of things to DCI and IPOA.
Yes.
Kindly allow DCI to take the stand.
Thank you, DCI.
And DCI, I'll give you 8 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one was, what is my message to the family? The message simply is that we will play any legal role to have justice for the family and confidence by the public towards the police. And we shall go out of our way to make sure that we accord all the support and cooperation to the investigations currently underway, currently being undertaken by IPOA. Senator Odinga, whether there are different laws, I would like to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that we don't have different set of laws. The laws apply equally as enacted by our Parliament. And the law says any person. So we are not selective as officers of the National Police Service in the application of the laws. Suffice to say, however, that the perception of defamation is relative and may be construed differently by different people. Why the officers gave a chance to the suspect, the IG has very well explained that. It is part of the reform process, and it is normal for us to grant the suspect telephone facility, so that, and that was actually a request made by the suspect, so that he could contact his wife and family members. And it's also a clear testimony of our adherence to the Constitution, the fundamental freedoms, and the Bill of Rights. Senator Manzo alluded to the possibility of the deceased having been injured by the DCI officers who effected the arrest. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I may not wish to dwell on this matter. In my earlier presentation, I was able to give a chronology and the graphic details of the movement of the suspect all the way from Homa Bay up to Central Police Station. And I'm sure these are issues the Independent Police Oversight Authority will investigate to its logical conclusion. Like I said, if any DCI officer is found to be involved in the killing, then, Honorable Speaker, let the law take its course. We are not covering up for anybody. In terms of the DCI officer who booked Albert Ojwang, the booking was not done by a DCI officer, Honorable Speaker. Like I had said in my previous submission, the booking was done digitally by a report office personnel. And I'm sure the particular officer, the identity of that particular officer will be established in the investigations. Why not summon? Honorable Speaker, when it comes to investigations, particularly on matters of computer and cyber crimes, it isn't a walk in the park. You are starting your investigations from the unknown to the unknown. You are dealing with persons operating from dark webs, persons running pseudo accounts, persons whose accounts are domiciled in other jurisdictions. At the commencement of our investigations, Honorable Speaker, we did not know the true identity of Albert Ojwang. We were only dealing with an ex-handle, a person whose identity was not known to us, and it was therefore not possible for us to summon him. It took a lot of efforts, a lot of expertise for us to unveil the identity of the owner of that ex-handle. And that's why it was not possible for us to summon the late Albert Ojwang up to the point where the officers went and arrested him. Sometimes again, and this applies to it's a general investigative technique, Honorable Speaker. Some summons might be prejudicial or even interfere with our investigative processes. Like you are investigating a cybercrime and you want to recover a computer from a suspect. You cannot just summon that suspect to come and report to the police station. What is the risk? You have the risk of that suspect deleting the information that you require to use as evidence in court. So that's why sometimes we may not opt to summon suspects, but to go for them. Somebody has material exhibits, documents that you believe are crucial to your investigations. You cannot just summon him. Summon him will give him ample time to destroy and interfere with those exhibits, Honorable Speaker. In terms of who issued the orders to have Albert Ojwang ferried from Mutembei to Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, we don't micromanage our investigation processes. We give the officers their leeway to make decisions. We have professional officers who are well guided by the service standing orders, officers who are well guided by our guide to the criminal investigations. For example, Honorable Speaker, if a car is stolen in Lodwar and the suspect is arrested in Mutembei, the court that has competent jurisdiction is that court which is domiciled in Lodwar. So it will be futile for an investigating officer to come and ask his commander whether he will take the suspect to Lodwar or he will be prosecuted in Mutembei for that matter. So those are very simple operational and tactical matters that we leave the officers for the officers to make their determinations as guided by the service standing orders. Harming House from Mutembei, the Inspector General has explained that. And there was
This year you have 1 minute to conclude.
1 minute to conclude, Honorable Speaker. I would like to reiterate the fact that DIG LANGAT has no command over IPOA. His command is limited to Kenya Police Service. I am urging this August House that the general mood in the country should not be used to victimize DIG LANGAT. Let us wait for the investigations to establish the circumstances under which Albert Ojwang met his death. Thank you, and I submit, Honorable Speaker.
IPOA. IPOA, you may take the stand.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to, first of all, answer a concern that has been raised on my chair. And I spoke to him during the break. We got the notice of this particular sitting yesterday when he was already out of the country. But as we speak, he's finding his way into Kenya. He's coming back because we have a similar sitting tomorrow with the Parliamentary Committee. And together with me, Speaker, today are 3 commissioners and the CEO of the authority. So we are taking this matter with the seriousness that it deserves. And one of the commissioners present today, Honorable Jacqueline Lukalo, attended the autopsy process on our behalf. So, Honorable Speaker, I had questions that were asked. One of them was the clarity from Senator Siege, Senator Murago, and Senator Mandago our preliminary findings show that the young man, Ojwang, was alone in the cell, and the neighboring cell, where we have had 2 witnesses, one has recorded a statement, they have said they had loud screams from that particular cell. But unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, the cells are not numbered. So we are also giving a recommendation for the cells to be numbered so that a cell is allocated vis-a-vis a person in the OB. The next concern was by Senator Wambua on the safety. I hope I got the name right. On the safety of our investigators and our officers. Honorable Speaker, our investigators especially are not safe, going by the fact that they're investigating armed police officers. But in the same light, in the security service laws, which are headed by the CS Interior, we are seeking for licensing to carry firearms. We were recently in South Africa, and our counterpart, IPID, the body that a lot was borrowed to the formation of IPOA, they have licenses to carry firearms, and in the same light also the right to arrest, the powers to arrest, and also the powers to prosecute. So that is something we are pursuing through the legal reforms in the security services laws. There was also a question on Senator Hezena on tampering of the CCTV. And as I'd said, we have engaged experts on the retrieval of the same. And we have the DVR, that is like the motherboard of the CCTV with us. So that is what we will use to reconstruct the evidence if we are able to get, after the information that we'll get from the expert. As I had indicated, Chair, the investigations are ongoing, so I believe we'll have more information as we go by. There was also a question by, I believe, oh yes, the forensic laboratory. And we have a small forensic laboratory at the authority that we use, especially on the small cases. But in most cases, we have been referring to the DCI laboratory. And that is why in the same security service laws, we are seeking for an independent forensic laboratory, especially on the issues of ballistics. But on the government chemist, like what we have sent currently on blood and tissue samples, that one we work with them. And we also have partners that we have signed MOU with who have the capacity of the same laboratories. I believe, Chair, I have answered the questions, but there was one on the DIG, and as I had indicated, we are taking statements from the officers who are at the station. In total, there are 17, and I believe if the investigation and the evidence that we are getting would lead to any other officer, including senior officers, to be investigated, we'll have no problem in calling them in or summoning them into IPOA to give us the evidence that is required. With that, with what we are receiving today, as Professor Kamar has asked, what is leading? I've said we interviewed. Specifically, we asked for information from the OCS because the CCTV is domiciled in his office. So after today, I believe we'll be able to have a report that we'll give to the committee as our progress report. And I believe, as Honorable Sigei said, we'll be able to work in less than the 10 days to submit the file to the ODPP. But we seek for cooperation from the Senate, Honorable Speaker. We have a small budget. We are really understaffed. We have 77 investigators across the country. So we are hoping that we will get that support to be able to fulfill our mandate. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We have 3 minutes for further clarifications. I will go back to the move of this business Senator Eddy, and then Senator Metha. We have 3 minutes to do this. Senator Eddy, you may proceed. Senator Eddy, if you don't have any clarification, you may yield to your colleagues.
Because of time, Mr. Speaker, I have 3 very quick clarifications in under 2 minutes. Does the minister, or rather the CS and the IG, appreciate what senators have talked about on the issue of DIG, given that this is somebody who has died in the cells, and the possibility of cannibalization of the process by one senior member of the authority ends the call for him to resign? That's question number 1. Question number 2, on the on the IG, who are your key suspects? That's a simple question. Even if they're not guilty, we have seen instances, for instance, I've cited the case for Honorable Longondo Were. I know he did not die in a police cell, but Mr. Speaker, any form of suspects are arrested and asked to make statements. We are living here not knowing who the IG considers his main suspects. And lastly, DCI, given that this was a matter of cyber crime, and you were talking about the competence of the court, and this in this matter, the case should have been handled in Mutembei in our feeling, are you arguing that the cloud is only Nairobi? And the cloud, where is the cloud in your view? Let me ask that question from an ICT perspective. Where do you think the cloud is? Is the cloud in Nairobi? Or where is the cloud? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Metha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to disagree with the DCI when he says that all animals are equal. What the Inspector General of Police told us is that the investigators led by Hussein went to record the statements of the Deputy Inspector General from his office in Vigilance House. Number 2, I also want to disagree with him when he says that they have so many teams, so they were able to get to Mutembei very early. Those teams only left Nairobi once they confirmed that the complaint against Ojwang was a valid one. And therefore, I actually feel, and it's my very, very considered opinion, that this matter and the investigations to this matter cannot be free and fair if the DIG, ELIUD LANGAT, continues sitting in that office as the Deputy Inspector General. Finally, to the IPOA, I wish you well as you look at this matter and you give us answers in 10 days. May I inform you, Mr. Speaker, that yesterday in my county, Nyandarua County, a pregnant woman was arrested in a place called Rwanyambo. She was put and detained in a police station called Rwanyambo. She was pregnant, and I think 6 or 7 months pregnant. Having been detained there, she was crying to the police officers to help her get medical support. This morning, the people of Rwanyambo have woken up to the horrific scene of the pregnant woman in that cell with her dead baby that she delivered in the cell, or rather that was aborted in the cell, Honorable Speaker. If, Mr. Speaker, if this inhumanity in our police force, Mr. Speaker, is not stopped, I don't think we have a country. If they can watch and listen to the cries of a woman who is pregnant and they can see. Mr. Speaker, she had only been accused of stealing 9,000 shillings. 9,000 shillings is something that could have been even gotten by her family. If they allowed, or even summoned Miuka to come the next day, I'm sure she would have come. The same case for Ojwang. There is no record that Ojwang was summoned and he refused to appear in a police station. Inspector General of Police, I don't know whether you have a heart or your concerns is pricked by the kind of harassment or the kind of thing that is happening to the people of Kenya from your own officers. That is an incident that happened yesterday, even as the country mourns about the Ojwang. That is something that happened. You have heard that Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya, even an unborn person has a right to live. Now we have lost that kid, Honorable Speaker. I don't know what will happen to Milka because she has not been taken to hospital. The whole day, Mr. Speaker, even when people went out to the Ronyambo police station to complain, they have been beaten up by police. They have been tear gassed the whole day, Honorable Speaker. I don't understand, Honorable Speaker, what kind of a police force that we have right now, Mr. Speaker. So I want to also throw that challenge. I've written to the...
So, IG, you have 2 minutes. DCI, 2 minutes. IPOA, 2 minutes. We conclude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The question of who are my key suspects. That question refers back to what I did. I did suspend some officers because I did not want them to interfere with the investigation because they are the first key suspects in that one. But those who committed the offenses, we will get to know from IPOA when they are through with the investigations. Mine was to ensure that we preserve the scene, we ensure that nobody interferes so that we can go to the bottom of that matter. And that's the reason why I'm happy that today they have also recorded their statements with the IPOA, and I hope that that process moves quickly. We want to get to know who are these who did and carried out this heinous act. I've heard of the issue of certain police station where a pregnant woman was actually mistreated. In fact,
IG, conclude. We barely have a minute to conclude this session.
I'm happy that the Honorable Senator has already written to IPOA to investigate the same, but even myself, I'm going to institute the same through the Internal Affairs Unit so that I can be able to go to the bottom of that. And if that is the case, I'm going to crack the whip so that those involved, they get the ultimate punishment. Thank you very much.
IG,
Honorable Speaker, that is what I would wish to submit.
Thank you. You may have your seat. Now, DCI and IPOA, you will proceed from where we've left it before the committee tomorrow. We do not have time to hear you. Now, honorable senators, we have come to the end of this session. I'd wish to thank the CS and his team for the responses given. Now, the closure of this session is not the end of pursuing this matter by the Senate. If you're aware, the Senate Standing Committee on National Security is already seized of this matter, and it is scheduled for a sitting tomorrow. I therefore direct the Secretariat to make available the record of this meeting to our Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations, so that they can use this to further their probe and make the appropriate recommendation for tabling in the Senate. I also direct that the committee proceed in this matter with a lot of urgency and to table their report. Now, we are going on recess tomorrow. However, we are going to call for a special sitting before the end of the recess to discuss other businesses. This will be among the businesses to receive the report from the Committee of National Security. To IPOA, you've indicated to us that you need 10 days. This is a matter that is more complicated than that of the Honorable Ongono Were. It's a matter that happened in the hands of police officers, in the precincts of police station. It should be the easiest thing to conclude in the shortest time possible. If I were you, I will conclude it way before the expiry of the 10 days. The country is watching. Thank you so much, honorable senators. We now resume the normal